lift it a little bit, pull that up. And
Oh, we were pushing that one hard enough. That's the problem.
give it a little jolt.
Get a little iffy there.
The starting procedure. This is the choke here.
Make sure you guys put your eyes on this so you know what he's talking about.
If you watch, it'll go click and lock. It won't pull up unless you squeeze these two together. Right here.
See that little tab on
See the little tab on the bottom? Pull that tab, lift it up. That's full choke, halfway, and so on and so forth. This is your throttle. You won't have to touch this at all while you're starting. So you pull the choke all the way up.
Unless it's not neutral for some reason.
Well, it won't, this won't. If that's in gear, that's forward, that's reverse. You gotta pull that little red handle on the bottom to make it do anything. But if it's in gear, that won't come up. Right? So anyway, choke up. You wanna make sure your gas line is attached, which there's a gas can over there. And then you can see a squeeze valve on it. That little apparatus there.
The way you attach the hose, you see this little clip here?
There's a lock.
If you look at it, you'll notice that there's two different holes here. Sometimes one hole will be smaller than the other one. Okay, and all you got to do is match it up to the pins on the side of the motor here. This hose, I'm going to connect it just so you can see exactly how it goes.
Oh, over here.
Yep, that hose connects right there on the side. Okay, you have to push that, make sure you get that.
This way.
That metal tab on there.
It'll actually lock.
Okay, you have to push it in. You hear that little snap, that means it's engaged, and then give it a little tug back.
Tug. You don't want to yank it.
Yeah, gentle tug to make sure that it's fully engaged and locked in, because you don't want that popping off or leaking fuel while you got the motor running.
Okay, now this particular motor also has it's oil injected, so you do not mix oil in with the gasoline. The motor itself does it by itself. But this is the oil reservoir, and it needs to be full. So our little thing is broken on top. We just got to open it up and look inside, and it is full. It's kind of a bluish-green oil. It doesn't look like motor oil, so don't worry about it if it looks strange.
Don't put motor oil in there.
It doesn't get motor oil. While the motor is running, when you do get it running, if forever you hear an alarm, a beep, that means that your oil is not properly going in. So this also has a squeeze valve. You want to make sure that's squeezed. Usually it's pretty hard, but when the alarm goes off, you can get a little bit of a squeeze out of it. That squeeze valve, once you connect it to, don't squeeze it now. Once you connect it to the motor, you squeeze it until it gets rigid, okay? So it gets hard. Then you come over here, everybody's ready to go. This is down in the water. You don't want to start it out of the water.
Ralphie agrees with your comment.
What's that? Rigid?
Squeeze the balls until it gets rigid.
Figures, that can't. All right, so oil's always connected, gas is connected. Make sure the gas tank is full before you leave the station. That'd be a good thing. You get your key, which is a regular, like, not quite car key, but key, and then you also have this red safety bungee cord, which is connected to a shut-off switch. If this cord is here, you'll never get anything started because it's an electronic shut-off. It won't allow any electrical work, anything happen. So this has a little groove. You just stick it underneath there, and you'll hear it click in. This, if the motor's running, needs to be attached to the person driving at all times. We already dumped one of our people in the water last summer, and nobody knew anything. There was one guy in the front and the guy driving in the water, and they're both spinning around in circles. So that's what this is for. If the driver goes out, takes that with them, it shuts everything down. So it's electric safety. So that needs to be attached. This needs to be attached to you. Key goes in the key switch. Okay, now this has a manual choke and also has an electric choke. If you everybody listen, I'm going to push this in, the key, and turn it forward to start, and push it in, and you'll hear a click. Ready? Hear that little tiny click? You hold this key in, in the start position, hold it in for 10 seconds, and then short bursts. You don't want to keep cranking because you'll burn up the starter. So once it fires, you'll hear putter once. The choke is shut off, and then you don't use the electrical choke anymore. So then, if it fired, you would start trying to get it until it started. And it is a difficult motor to start when it's cold. It's possible that we won't be able to get started if you don't have the right person here to start.
Plus, it's running really rich. I think that's
Yeah.
a big part of the problem right now, too.
Yeah, over choking is if you hear it putt once, and you got to pay attention to it because it'll just go, you know, like almost a back spark. If you hear it do that, then you got to take the choke off right away. Otherwise, you'll flood it out. Is that what you said, back spark? Yeah. You ever hear a back spark? No. You don't have good ears, then. That's pretty much it.
Let's talk about the battery a little bit. A simple thing, there's that black box down in the bottom, if you look in the well in the back there on the stern. The battery's inside that box. Sometimes those cables hang out, they get kicked around, moved around. When we were getting the boat in the water yesterday, the cable was totally loose. That wing nut was backed off. So, you know, just something you want to double check to save yourself some problems and having to troubleshoot. There was another wing nut in the boat that didn't have it together. If you when you're starting the motor, if you're going at it and it's not starting, you start smelling gas, it's likely that you flooded the motor. And then
This is probably something most of you should never have to do. Take this cover off. But that's what the interior of the motor looks like. This is a starter. Starter right here. This is a flywheel that the starter spins. So if this is off and somebody tries to start it and you've got your hand here, you're going to be missing a finger or two.
That will take it right off.
Watch, I'll just show you.
in a crunchy kind of way.
You should see how it spins? It will take your finger off.
Yeah, so loose clothing, all that kind of stuff, you want to keep away from that. Because it gets caught up in that flywheel when that starter engages, and it'll suck it right on along with your body parts that are in it.
Now, there is a way to start this in case your battery does die. Full start.
Full start.
I think it's still in there.
It's not in there. It's at the bottom of the cabinet. Yeah, that was the motor block.
Alright, it's missing. Anyway, it's
Pair of pantyhose and
basically a string with a knot tied to the end of it. And a wooden handle, T-handle, with the rope going through it. You would attach the knot to this groove here, spin the motor a little bit by hand. Attach the knot in there, wrap the string around right above these teeth, and pull it by hand. Good luck. Good Godspeed. I did get started that way.
Is that how you guys started this?
No.
No.